When you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party comes to mind? The Republicans or the Democrats? Most people would probably say the Democrats, but this answer is incorrect. Since its founding in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every major civil rights initiative and has a long history of discrimination. The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, perpetrated lynchings, and fought against the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s and 1960s. In contrast, the Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. Its mission was to stop the spread of slavery into the new Western territories with the aim of abolishing it entirely. This effort, however, was dealt a major blow by the Supreme Court in the 1857 case Dred Scott versus Sandford. The court ruled that slaves aren't citizens, they're property. The 7 justices who voted in favor of slavery, all Democrats. The 2 justices who dissented, both Republicans. The slavery question was, of course, ultimately resolved by a bloody civil war. The commander-in-chief during that war was the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, the man who freed the slaves. 6 days after the Confederate Army surrendered, John Wilkes Booth, a Democrat, assassinated President Lincoln. Lincoln's vice president, a Democrat named Andrew Johnson, assumed the presidency. But Johnson adamantly opposed Lincoln's plan to integrate the newly freed slaves into the South's economic and social order. Johnson and the Democratic Party were unified in their opposition to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment, which gave blacks citizenship, and the 15th Amendment, which gave blacks the vote. All 3 passed only because of universal Republican support. During the era of Reconstruction, federal troops stationed in the South helped secure rights for the newly freed slaves. Hundreds of black men were elected to Southern state legislatures as Republicans, and 22 black Republicans served in the U.S. Congress by 1900. The Democrats did not elect a black man to Congress until 1935. But after Reconstruction ended, when the federal troops went home, Democrats roared back into power in the South. They quickly reestablished white supremacy across the region with measures like black codes, laws that restricted the ability of blacks to own property and run businesses, and they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests used to subvert black citizens' right to vote. And how was all of this enforced? By terror, much of it instigated by the Ku Klux Klan, founded by a Democrat, Nathan Bedford Forrest. As historian Eric Foner, himself a Democrat, notes, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, shared many views with the Klan. He resegregated many federal agencies and even screened the first movie ever played at the White House, the racist film, The Birth of a Nation, originally entitled The Klansman. A few decades later, the only serious congressional opposition to the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 came from Democrats. 80% of Republicans in Congress supported the bill, less than 70% of Democrats did. Democratic senators filibustered the bill for 75 days until Republicans mustered the few extra votes needed to break the logjam. And when all of their efforts to enslave blacks, keep them enslaved, and then keep them from voting had failed, the Democrats came up with a new strategy. If black people are going to vote, they might as well vote for Democrats, as President Lyndon Johnson was purported to have said about the Civil Rights Act. I'll have them voting Democrat for 200 years. So now, the Democratic Party prospers on the votes of the very people it has spent much of its history oppressing. Democrats falsely claim that the Republican Party is the villain, when in reality, it's the failed policies of the Democratic Party that have kept blacks down. Massive government welfare has decimated the black family. Opposition to school choice has kept them trapped in failing schools. Politically correct policing has left black neighborhoods defenseless against violent crime. So when you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party should come to mind? I'm Carol Swain, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University for Prager University.
All right. Want to say good evening to you guys. If in fact you're new to the channel, man, please by all means hit that subscribe button. People, that woman that you just heard, her name was Carol Swain, professor of political science at Prager University. I'm going to put the link at the bottom of the video to a lot of her work. She is a Republican. She used to be a Democrat. People, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take you guys through a series of thoughts. Please allow me. No antics. What you just heard that woman do was talk about the history of Democrats. People, I'm going to just come out and tell you. When I hear about a black person being a Democrat, I just think about a lost soul. I think about black folks, and when they describe Republicans, all they want to talk about is racism, without knowing the facts, not even being close. So I'm going to challenge you to this, all you black folks. I want you to Google, I want you to go on YouTube and put in the sad facts about the history of the Republican Party. See what comes up. The inconvenient truth about the Republican Party. The racist history of the Republican Party, and see what comes up. I'm here to tell you right now, nothing is going to come up. Do you know that when I put in the sad truth about Republican history, the history of Republicans, all Democrat stuff came up? Gee, I wonder why is that? And the reason for that is because, in fact, the Republican Party has no inconvenience in their history. They are the same people today as they was back in the past. But the reason why individuals navigating themselves around here today and talking the way they are talking is because they just don't know. Well, welcome to Facts at 100%. I'm your host, Chris One Radio Group, broadcasting live, Todd Smith Studios. Now, I was talking to She-Cake some time ago, and I was telling her that one of my methods in how I used to talk is I used to be vulgar, get your attention. I'm not going to do that now. I'm simply going to just drop facts. And the fact of the matter is that, and you heard this woman say it. I didn't say it. And I'm going to tell you, I absolutely love it. I love it. I love it to my death core. I love it when a black woman drops facts. You know why I love when a black woman drops facts? Facts allow me to say this. When you look at all the programs that they create for black people, do you know who they really creating them for? Creating them for black women. They don't create programs for black men. All right, so let me just say that. So when Miss Carol Swain started just kicking these facts, I said, that's my type of chick. Now I'm gonna tell you something. In 1854, the Democratic Party was formed as an anti-slavery party. They wasn't formed to hate black folks. They wasn't formed to raise black people's taxes. They was formed for one reason and one reason only: to stop slavery. And you know, the amazing thing about the Republican Party being formed is when oppressed, when there is wrongdoing, it normally starts something. It starts a revolution. It starts something. Let me be clear about what I'm saying here. Candy Lightner started Mothers Against Drunk Driving. She started Mothers Against Drunk Driving when her child was killed by a drunk driver. John Walsh, you know the guy. He started America's Most Wanted, The Hunt, and a host of other catch a criminal shows. He started all those organizations after his child was kidnapped and decapitated. Normally, when something is formed, it has what they call a mission statement. Do you know that the Republican Party never was for black people at all? And if you can say that they are today, let me help you understand something that happened before Mr. Donald Trump got into office, because you're so ill-informed. There is something called the NAFTA. NAFTA is called the North America Free Trade Agreement. And when you tell every other country around the United States, when you tell every other country on this planet that, hey, North America, the United States have a free trade. Do you know what free trade means? Free trade means that you can trade your stuff to this country without any type of incentives or guarantees for us to even send our products back to your country, because we have a free trade. Your President Obama, a Democrat, extended the North America Free Trade Agreement. I want y'all to listen to what I'm about to say. Now, here's what a lot of people is going to say. A lot of people is going to say that what President Donald Trump did was off the spinoffs of what President Barack Obama already had in place. So I want you to please leave your comments below the video. Help me understand, how does a black man grab a pen and sign into a free trade agreement? And then how do you think our economy is going to grow when Ford, Volvo, and a host of other large companies, Apple, moved overseas? You know why? Because we have free trade. Now, if we have free trade, that means, hey, there aren't going to be any type of problems when they move the company out of the States, and they can bring their product back in here with no problem. You see, the United States, us as citizens, we want rights. We want a higher minimum wage. But you know what? You can move those companies down to Mexico and pay those individuals $3 an hour and sell the product back here to the United States at $500, and that's what you call a profit. Why do you think Donald Trump said that Mexico was going to build a wall? They have the money. Where do you think he got that from? So for all you individuals that think Donald Trump was, President Barack Obama was a good president, please, I have an extremely high IQ. You'll be teaching me something. You'll be showing me something new. But like I said, the comment section is open, and you can explain to me and everybody that watched this video how President Barack Obama, a Democrat, a black man, you could explain to me exactly how he was a good president. And please, 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 giving y'all free cell phones is some nigga shit. Okay? All right? That's some nigga shit. All right? Obama phone, that's some nigga shit. Because guess what? I cannot take this phone, put it in an envelope, and my mortgage company will accept it as a mortgage payment. Okay? So, let me tell you something else. For all you individuals that think Obamacare was a good thing, you once again will be teaching me something new. But once again, leave your comments at the bottom of the video and explain to me just exactly how Obamacare was a good thing. Just explain to me how it was a good thing, all right? Now, for those individuals that would like to say President Donald Trump, the rise in unemployment was work that President Obama put in place, and President Donald Trump was the recipient of work that was put in place by President Barack Obama. Leave that information at the bottom of the video too. Tell me exactly what he did. All right? Because once again, President Barack Obama extended the North America Free Trade Agreement. So let me tell you how our president, our current president, the Republican, stopped the bleeding of jobs leaving the United States, leaving a citizen saying, what's up with that? Okay. And then leaving us jobless. Okay. So let me tell you. So, because everybody like to forget. Thank God for us intellects. We remember. Do you remember when Donald Trump put stipends into place when he first was it stipends or SARS or something like that? He put into place when he first came into office. You remember when he did that? He put the stipend on steel. Do you know what that did? That caused a lot of companies to come back to the United States. There have been mill plants that have been closed down for 40 years and reopened, and we started generating 1950s and 1960s production of our own gross domestic product here in the U.S. Let me say that again because I tripped it up. When he put that stipend on steel, what that did was it opened up mills that hadn't been opened in 40 and 50 years. And what that ended up doing was jacking up our GDP, which is our gross domestic product. And in turn, that created jobs. It had nothing to do with what President Barack Obama put in place. Nothing at all. Something else I want to educate you on because you guys didn't know. You do know that America owe debt to other countries, right? You do know we owe debt. Okay, let me tell you what they were trying to do. You see, Donald Trump, as a businessman and billionaire, he's seen all this happening when he wasn't the president. That's how he had a one-up on it when he became president. This is why he stopped it. He didn't stop the bleeding. He stopped it and healed our economy. So what was happening was every country outside of the United States, except with the exception of Canada, was trying to devalue the American dollar. You don't know nothing about this, do you? Of course you don't. They were trying to devalue the American dollar. Do you know what was going to happen had they devalued the American dollar? Our economy would have collapsed. And guess who would have swung in there and gave you little stipends and stuff and said, hey, just believe in us because we'll be your savior? Good old-fashioned Democrats. Can you find any other party, any other political party of any other country that actually went to another country and told them to send your citizens to our borders? Can you find one? No, has never happened. But your Democrats did that. Your Democrats did that. Let me tell you why your Democrats did that. And like I said, when I hear black people that are Democrats, I just say to myself, wow, such a lost soul. It's amazing that you can run around here and say, I hate Donald Trump, and say to yourself, I want to put in a Democratic Party who wants to crash the economy and then force you to take all these vaccinations, et cetera, et cetera. That's all the Democrats. It's amazing how you could be so dumb to seeing this. It is amazing. It is amazing. Oh, don't get me started. So I'm going to say this. What you just heard a woman say was that the Democrats was opposed to every civil rights initiative. Do you know what that means? Okay. Do you know what that means when she say that the Democrats was opposed to every civil rights initiative? What she was saying was every time we came up with a civil rights initiative, the Democrats said, no, we don't want it. We want you niggers to be right where you are. Do you also know when she said that welfare has decimated the black family? You know why it has decimated the black family? People, I'm going to say something, and I know a lot of people is not going to like this. Whenever you want to conquer a people, you deal with the weakest party. And women will like to run around here and say they're strong. But it's the reason why. It's the reason why I don't have a problem with my daughter, relationship with my daughter. You know why? Because a Democratic program said the $410 a month you was paying for private school when you was picking your child up every day, eliminating after school care, but that saved the mother an additional $600 in daycare. When you was feeding the child every day, that saved the mother about $100 a month in food because you was feeding the child every day. And then doing homework with the child every day, priceless. This in its entirety was $1,710 a month in incentives. But you know why a woman said, do you know why a woman said, you know what? I don't want none of that. I'll take $259 a month. You see what the Democrats is doing, what politicians is doing to women of color is they are playing on y'all emotions. They're playing on y'all emotions. They know that you want to get a man under any means. They know that even if a woman like a Tia LaShawn Bradley, which is my child's mom, they know that even though she graduated from Seton Hall University, it is a known fact through the studies and get back studies and the studies of estrogen, which is what women are. They know that, you know what? A woman will go ahead and take $259 a month, send her child in poverty abyss as long as they're getting the man. Yeah. Did you know that every form of did you know that every domestic relation law that's put into place right now that got you paying child support, that got you getting put out of your home, got you all this stuff, this tearing families apart. Did you know that all those laws were put in place by Democrats? Let me tell you the laws that was put in place by Republicans. The RICO statute. The RICO statute is a law that says that, you know what? If you and your friends go rob a bank, you're driving a getaway car. Even though you didn't go inside the bank, you're guilty because you drove the getaway car. Now, I know that may seem harsh, but I'm going to tell you something. When it comes to a law that's going to make all accomplices accountable, I'll take that law any day over laws that breaks up family. You see, when Republicans put in laws, they put in laws to bring down rings and stings. Democrats put in laws to destroy. I mean, because after all, you do know that we were doing fine as a people without welfare, right? You do know that. You do know that, I don't know. You do know that if you tell a person, hey, I'll take care of you for 10 years, and then turn around and tell that person, now you got to get up and get a job after 10 years. You do know that that individual is crippled to society. You do know that welfare cripples, right? Yeah, of course. Because, I mean, after all, when we take an animal and keep them in captivity, right? When we keep an animal and keep them in captivity, you can't send them back out to the wild to fend for themselves. You can't do that with them. But individuals be on welfare for 20 years. And then say, hey, I'm going to wake up today and I'm going to get off welfare. Nah, the Democrats don't want that. Ask your Democratic caseworker, can you get off welfare? Ask your Democratic caseworker what type of life that they're going to give your child. When you decide you want to take somebody down for child support and invoke a get-a-nigga system, that's all it is, a get-a-nigga system. Ask those Democrats, hey, what if the man decides he don't want to do anything for my child anymore? Because he got military benefits that's supposed to put our child through college. You see, let me go ahead and open up the story to what I just said. I fathered a child. I get it. You know, the Democrats helped me understand, and they gave a Tia LaShawn Bradley the plan to put me out of, I now have to say her child's life. Even though I fathered it, I have been trained to now say her child. You do know that when you take a man down for child support, that's all you get. That's your only entitlement. So here's what a Tia LaShawn Bradley thought. A Tia LaShawn Bradley thought that she was going to take me down for child support, destroy the relationship with my child in myself and then play on my morals. And what she thought was, this is what she thought. It's just crazy. You see, her daughter now is 22 years old and got some student loans. But do know under daddy's tutelage, she's supposed to have went to the Veterans Administration and said, Chris is my dad, and they would have gave her free books, free tuition, and a $1,300 a month stipend so she can concentrate on going to school and don't have to work. But you see, when I say that this is how estrogen thinks. Estrogen said, no, sign me up for the $259 a month. Long as I'm getting him. The Democrats said, well, come on in. Why do you think you can go down there and put child support on a man, even if he's doing everything he's supposed to do right by his child? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that the child support law and the restraining order laws are the only laws put in place where you need absolutely no proof of wrongdoing? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Why? Because it breaks up families. That's why. Appreciate those thumbs up, y'all. People, I literally lose my mind when I hear black people say they're Democrats. And the only reason why they say they're Democrats is because they don't know no better. The perspective of hate is coming from an organization that was only formed for the sole purpose to stop slavery. And today, y'all don't even give them no credit for it. You run to an organization, a political party, that said, we don't want civil rights, but I tell you what, if you niggas gonna vote, I'm gonna have you niggas voting Democrat. And how they doing us today? They doing us just like the Indians. You know, there was a war that was won when the soldiers came up on shore and gave them things as opposed to bringing guns. Isn't that how the Indians got up out of here? Isn't that how? Can't you control somebody by simply giving them stuff and then getting them addicted to the items in which you give them? Isn't that a form of control? Yeah, it is. You see, I'm going to sum it up like this. I know better. I have an extremely high IQ. I know the history of the Democrats. And if you want to say history don't count, try going to go buy a car after you had one repoed. If you don't think history counts. If you don't think history counts, why do we have Black History Month? How come history means something to black folks except the history of Democrats? How can you be so dumb? Let me ask you again. And if you think being a Democrat is smart because this perspective of the worst of two evils, stop it. Stop it. A garden snake and a rattlesnake are both snakes. Remember that. Remember that. A garden snake and a rattlesnake are both snakes. If you want to say that the Republicans are just as bad as the Democrats, well, then send me the link where it said anything when you put the inconvenient truth about Republicans, the sad truth about Republicans, the racist history of Republicans. Just please, by all means, put it at the bottom of the video. Help me find the racist history of the Republican Party. Let me tell you why you won't find it. Because it don't exist. It don't exist. And the reason why it don't exist, because it's not in their history. Have a good night, y'all. This is Chris. You just got facts at 100%.